Today we're here with the Apple Watch Series 3 Edition ceramic 42mm. This is in fact one of the most expensive Apple Watches currently in production. You guys might have remembered the original edition watches were available in rose and yellow gold, selling for upwards of $18,000. This is not so intense, but this is still over a $1,000 Apple Watch. The new edition comes in both gray ceramic and white ceramic. It is the benefactor of totally new processor, a new altimeter, and several other kind of technical innovations that really make this kind of the ultimate in smartwatches. So the biggest change to the Apple Watch Series 3 versus Series 2 is that Series 3 actually is a cellular device. That means there's an actual antenna in this 42mm watch, also obviously available in the 38mm watch, that allows you to unpair your watch from your phone for the very first time. Which means right now, here I am in Dumbo on the other side of the river from Manhattan, and all I have with me are the Apple Watch, my wallet, my house keys, and my Apple AirPods. What I do not have with me is my cell phone. And that is probably the case for the very first time in the better part of a decade. And so what you can do is place phone calls, you can text message, you can check email, calendars, et cetera, without having to use your phone. And so what that means is you actually feel liberated in some way to actually go out and do more because you don't have to have this giant object in your phone anymore. So you do pair the watch with your existing phone number. And with that, you get the ability to make phone calls right from your watch. And so I think something that hasn't really been mentioned enough is that what allows this watch to be so much more functional, and I really mean exponentially more functional than Series 1 or Series 2, is the addition of these little guys right here. And I've owned these for the better part of a year. And these are your AirPods, and I use them with my laptop and I use them with my iPhone, but they really come into their own when you're talking about the watch, because you can take one, for example, you don't even need two, and I can go ahead and dial somebody. So what I'll do here is go to Recents, and say, okay, here are the last few people I called. I'm gonna call Will Holloway. So we'll let it go to voicemail. So here I'll say, hey Will, how you doing? I hope all is well. Remember that time we played pitch and putt golf down at Palm Beach after we hung out with Jack Nicklaus? How cool was that? By the way, I need this video for tomorrow. And along with making the phone calls and everything else, you can go in and listen to music. And so with music, you can stream right to one or two AirPods. I'm listening to It's All About the Benjamins, because that's what I'm into. You put a second one in, and you've got real quality, and of course it syncs right to it. And I think the brilliance of this concept, the AirPods with the watch, I think, will not really be appreciated until these really get out there at scale, because for the past 5 days or so, I've been able to live my life phone-free. And now, am I on Instagram? Am I using Uber and all that? I actually am. So I'm doing everything that I was doing before. Is it a little bit wonkier at times, for sure. With Uber, for example, you can't enter a destination on the Apple Watch app. I'm sure that will change very soon. But the fact that I don't have my phone anymore is a real kind of life upgrade. I think that there's something to be said for that. The other thing that I really enjoyed about this watch is that obviously I've used Apple Watch Series 1 and 2, but what I found myself doing here is using it as an actual watch. So I keep the face on what they call the Explorer face, which looks very much like a watch. But then when you go inside, you can actually go into this timer function here. And if you wanted to, and I certainly would because I'm a chronograph nerd, you'd be able to use it as a split-second chronograph. So, we'll hit stop, push down, go into a graph. You can actually see how each lap compares to the last. And in fact, even though it's digital, it removes kind of the technical wherewithal and the technical know-how that's required to make a split second, but it's still fun. As somebody that's into race car driving or just playing with split seconds, this is a lot of fun. Now, what I've talked about so far has been true for all of the Apple Watch Series 3s, those with cellular capabilities. What I'll talk about now is the fact that this is in fact the most expensive version of the Apple Watch. This very one, in ceramic, the edition, 42mm, costs $1,349. That is a whole hell of a lot of money, in particular for a digital device. And so does this make sense? I think the manufacturing on this watch is spectacular. This is Apple's own version of ceramic. It takes 70 CNC machines to produce this beautiful polish here. It takes about 6 hours to manufacture the case across those 70 CNC machines and 2 hours to polish it itself. This is a stunning, stunning piece of industrial design and a stunning use of ceramic. Now, us being us, we wanted to take this Apple Watch edition full ceramic and compare it to a watch that is also ceramic. So what we have here is a Zenith El Primero in ceramicized aluminum. This watch retails for over $8,000. It has an in-house self-winding chronograph, a very well-known one, in fact, one of the first. And this watch has the same fit and finish, I would say, as the ceramic Apple Watch. That said, this is full ceramic, this is not. Full ceramic watches tend to be rather expensive, in many cases much, much more than $8,000. However, there are some caveats to that. And what we have is really a very, very similar product with completely different hearts and completely different kind of goals here. So this watch is intended to last forever. They both use a rubberized strap. They both are relatively kind of matte in finish. Of course, this is over $8,000, this is $1,300, but you can still see the way that Apple has integrated the strap, the way that Apple has integrated the screen, equivalent to the crystal and the dial of the Zenith, is really on par with a watch that is much more expensive than itself. Again, does it make sense to spend this much time manufacturing and polishing a digital device that will be, useless or at least outdated within 18 months or so? That's not for me to decide. So as a mechanical watch guy, how would a watch like this fit into your life? And so for me, and again, I've only had this for about a week now on review, to me, it's all about the weekends. It's all about the quick run to the drugstore. It's all about going for a quick drive. It wears exceptionally well on the wrist. Apple is a master at making things kind of fit into people's life. And for the first time, I can see this actually becoming a part of my life because particularly of the cell phone operability. Without that, it becomes just another digital device that we'll probably throw into a drawer pretty soon. The other thing about it is that it has a new CPU that is up to 70% faster than the last one. So one of my complaints of Apple Watch Series 1 was that it felt a little bit slow to update. If you hadn't used it for a while, it would take a while to kind of get all your data over. This is instant, and not only is it instant, but it keeps working when it's not near your phone. So if you're near your phone, it's going to use Bluetooth. If you're not near your phone, it's going to jump onto Wi-Fi. And if you're not near Wi-Fi, it's going to jump onto LTE or cellular. So it uses whatever's the most efficient network nearby, and because of that, you have a constant stream of data. So overall, the Apple Watch Edition is for sure the most complex and most comprehensive and most creative smartwatch out in the market, for sure. It is also, I think, arguably the most beautiful. I've used the Tag Heuer, I've used the Montblanc, I've used the Louis Vuitton, I've used several of the Google devices. This is for sure the most elegant and most kind of useful of all of them. It fits into your life in a way that I don't think the others do. It's so much smaller, more compact, and more powerful. And I think that's what it comes down to. This is the first truly powerful smartwatch that has been introduced by anybody, let alone the most beautiful in ceramic. I think what this watch will do to smartwatches, and for sure the Apple Watch, is it will elevate it from kind of a toy, an object that you use because, okay, it might save you a little time here and there, to something truly useful and really a big part of your life. And I think, again, that all comes down to not the new CPU, which is great, or the new gray ceramic, which is beautiful, but the fact that it is now cellular device activated.